Welcome back to another episode of the FNtasia podcast. We got some conspiracy theories from you guys. Last week I said, send in some of your conspiracy theories to the FNtasia podcast Twitter account. We're going to read off some of them and react and give some of our own conspiracy theories as well. We had some very, very crazy submissions, so I just want to jump right into it. First one, and this one will be great, especially after last week's podcast. My conspiracy theory is that Booga's World Cup win was rigged. Booga is an Epic plant and was planted to win World Cup as they could have, so that Epic could have an all-American English-speaking person who would represent the game and competitive as best as possible. They didn't want to risk a foreign player winning and not having great English or a great personality to go on shows like Jimmy Fallon, etc.
I'm just going to jump straight in, just right in there and say, I've talked to Epic about World Cup. There was definitely in no way that much planning that went into it. Just straight off the bat, a lot more than just who ended up winning, because I don't think it was planned to that level of extent. So I'm just immediately gonna disagree, although it's a fun statement to think about.
I think if they wanted a personality to go on the talk shows, there were probably better choices than Booga as well.
Definitely
at the time. Animated choices in interesting ways.
Like, even if they wanted to rig it for him, there's so many other teams on the south side of the map where he was kind of landing and stuff like that. It's impossible. It's impossible. And then you kind of look at like how Booga performed after the World Cup. It was just him playing well in a singular tournament to dominate it all. Yeah.
I also did like a full breakdown of this already, like 2 years ago or something, where I want to answer the question: did Booga win FNCS? God, or I'm dating myself already now. A World Cup purely to do with like, did he get good luck? Did he get good zone RNG? And long story short, not really. No, there was a couple like really lucky games. Like I think the last one, but he'd already won at that point. So there was actually not really substantial.
Well, that's where the rigging came in. Like they wanted to make sure he won. They made sure. Like when he was in the lead, it was like, let's
give him a 30-point lead.
He'd already won by game 2, but they really wanted to solidify it in game 6. That's where it really mattered.
Of course, when it's one where everyone's watching, you gotta give it in his favor. All right, next one. My Fortnite conspiracy theory is that Epic rigs the zones for the new areas of the map. Whenever there's a new biome, the zones in FNCS always seem to go to that biome.
I think we've got a man in the corner that'll be good at answering this one way down here. There we go.
Yeah. Let's hear him first.
I've spent more than a few hours studying how zones work, and I can comprehensively tell you that this is not true.
Okay. Pinch has spoken.
Okay. So there is one thing that might kind of affect that, which is that when there's a new biome, often there's an extra bit of land there. If you think like chapter 4, when they added all the megacity area, that corner of the map became really big, way bigger than the area of land before. So therefore more zones do pull there, because zones are basically kind of essentially randomized over where the land is. So you will get more zones in the southeast near megacity. So there is that effect, but apart from that, I'm not listening to those people.
I also think if you were rigging zones, it would be way more obvious for the fact of you can do it. Because can I think Epic rig zones? Yes, I think they can. It's all an algorithm. It's all a computer that you put in the system. But to be able to do that and program it with the game, and we know that a lot of the mistakes and the speed bumps they go through when they're kind of putting it all together, I just don't think it's worth their time to actually rig the zones in their favor when you have some of the biggest content creators playing the game anyway.
I love this is like one of the things that BloodX always tweets about, and it always makes me laugh every time. Like, see, they can do it. They can rig it. Like, we can exclude areas. And the idea that it would be possible, sure, but would it be like, why what really would be the goal? And he in particular says, or a lot of people have said that Invitational was rigged for Chem and City to give them zones, and I kind of just look back to my thought from World Cup, like, do you really think that there was that much thought put into it in terms of the zones that were going there or not? Just absolutely not.
Yeah. why are we rigging zones for Cammy and Say? You know?
Exactly.
Why
You know?
would we be doing that? You know?
What did that bring? You know?
Exactly.
Because it happened.
This one was an interesting one. My conspiracy theory is that when we had pre-seasons in Chapter 2, where it was said that it was an evaluation period to, you know, see what should be in comp and what shouldn't be in comp, that was all just a ruse. In reality, they just wanted the best content creators and streamers at the time to have to use and promote and play the new wacky items that the new season would hold.
Like, I don't even know some of these questions. I just start off with a smile and a laugh because to me it just doesn't make sense where these ideas even come from.
No, wait, he's cooking. Look, he's cooking though. Okay, so like the reason I say he's cooking is because, you know, like when they remove like patch notes, right? One of like the biggest reasons, at least that was speculated, was like the aspect of, you know, like people see what's in the patch notes, they cry, and so they're like, well, I'm not even going to play the game because, you know, like they wanted people to actually get on the game and explore for themselves, right? So in the same vein of that, right? Like guys like a lot of the big streamers, right, at the time were all comp-based people who were only playing Arena anyway, right? So it's like, if you have all the new stuff for the season in Arena, then guys like Mongrel and Benji at the time and Clicks and Savage and that who are streaming are going to be streaming showing off the new season. Whereas like if they had removed everything in Arena from day one, then like a large part of the community who watch, you know, just Fortnite through those guys just don't see the new stuff. Yeah. I don't agree, but like it's not like I don't agree with this, but like I don't think this is like the wildest conspiracy theory in the world.
It's a decent reason to do it.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's wild.
It's not a bad explanation.
Market aspect.
I do think the more logical explanation is that Epic just don't know what's broken, so they have to be told. So they just put everything in. They're like, oh, this doesn't actually work very well. So
yeah, I think that as well, simply because like you see other games, they have their playtest environments and things like that. Fortnite doesn't have it. So you got to test it somewhere, because even in like these PBE environments for other games, they're testing it in the office and then it goes live in the environment, and then whatever makes it to the live patch goes to the live patch. Fortnite doesn't necessarily have that system, so I think of balancing it out because it's millions of players, so it's not easy to get feedback from every corner.
And like a playtest also is interesting in Fortnite because obviously they do test shit internally, but the reality is like you're not going to be able to simulate a tournament setting with an internal Epic playtest for almost anything. Especially, you know, think about like quality players.
Hogman's wiping out the whole lobby.
yeah, exactly. You know, like what's the quality of lobby looking like there?
You guys want to play again?
It's funny. I know we're going to talk about Reload earlier, but Hogman was in like Boop's chat, and I was like, bro, like how many of those like internal Reload sessions did you win? And he was like, every single one.
Check out my spreadsheet.
Feedback. I love this game mode, by the way. I love it.
This is fantastic. So a couple other ones. Some of these ones were wild. Some of them were a lot tamer. My Fortnite conspiracy theory is that Archie paid Diox to act like a chubby cunt.
Oh my God.
I don't really. So this one really goes. My Fortnite conspiracy theory is that Acorn is paying Cold money to not get dropped. 40% of his earnings must be going to Cold. And as well as that, Acorn has Cold's parents locked up in his basement and forces him to play tournaments with him. Like, what are these? Like, what are you guys cooking?
You know, they had me in the first half. I was like, okay, I can kind of see it, but parents in the basement, I'm like, okay, now we're taking it one stretch too far.
Yeah, his brother was not cooking. Another person said, my Fortnite conspiracy theory is that Epic is purposely trying to make the game impossible to watch. They are trying to kill Battle Royale as they want people to play Fortnite Lego instead. I mean, that's a cook.
I mean, that's a cook. That's a cook. That's a cook.
I mean, yeah, that's just
Fortnite Lego is very watchable.
Yeah, no, exactly, 100%. All right, some more serious ones though. My Fortnite conspiracy, I say serious and it'll be like the wildest thing ever. My Fortnite conspiracy theory is that Fortnite isn't really elevating ESL or other 5v5 COD type modes as they want to make their own 5v5 mode and start hosting tournaments down the line.
No,
I mean,
I don't think so. I just think every singular game is protective of their IP, of their license, and it's almost no sense for them to promote too many things that are going on outside, especially when it seems like Fortnite is like the most productive developer that I've ever seen over their games. So I just think they're just really picky and choosy, and they want to create the system themselves. So there's no real reason for them to continue to work with all of these outs. I know they work with some, but all of these outside entities and stuff like that. When I think over the years, Fortnite has proven they want to be the one-stop shop for everything, not just competitive, even though that's what we're talking about, but they want to be the one-stop shop for everything. So after a while, I can see more and more or less and less collaborations with third-party tournaments and stuff like that coming out of Fortnite.
I also think like Epic is obviously a massive company which has the ability, their word means a lot if you're going to collaborate and be promoted specifically by Fortnite from a brand's perspective. Like, think about, we've got a whole season of Marvel coming up. Epic, obviously they're not going to give the same level of promotion as they would to something like that, but like that's a lot of money worth. So I just think that they're more of a business, and they're just not going to just go promoting other businesses unnecessarily unless it really benefits them.
Yeah,
I think, and to kind of add to that point real quick, is like we've seen it with Rocket League. Before Epic Games owned the all of Rocket League, we didn't really talk about it. Now they're even integrating it into the game. We've mentioned some of it on the broadcast. Like, go check out the major after this. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
After the recent, like, them adding reload, do you think there's a world where the second part of what that guy was saying, where like they do make their own sort of modes that is like a 5v5 game or 4v4 game like that?
Yeah, I can see them bringing in more official modes. We'd like, you would have said a couple of years ago, Battle Royale is what Fortnite is, but now they bring in Reload. I think we'll see more and more things like that. We've had Lego, Rocket Racing, all these other things that have become official and new modes for Fortnite, and I think we'll continue to see different things like that.
The question is, if they implement one, will it be good or will it be a total dud? Because most of the 5v5 maps and things historically, and also just ones that people have made in creative, just are not interesting or very good. Like ESL, like obviously we've talked at length about ESL, and sure, it's like fun, but it's fun in the confines of this tournament mode, pretty restrictively only. When you're playing against good players, watching is good and all that kind of stuff. But like, is it actually an amazing mode by itself? There's a lot to be desired there, I think. So, if Epic also wants to do that, like something similar, how would the quality of that even be at the time? But yeah, I mean, I think this week has shown they'll put anything in and to test cool stuff. But I think this is maybe something that's probably lower on the list. I'm sure there's some other cool stuff first.
Probably,
I think Fortnite, they'll continue to innovate, and I've been saying it for years, and I'll continue to say it. They're everything. Like, if you've seen it, when reboots came out, when the different modes came out with zero build and all the things, they're everything. So if you see something cool going down in another game, and Fortnite can figure out a way to emulate that, they're bringing it over. So I think, even though we will still have like battle royale competitions, I can see it. I mean, they already did it with Search and Destroy a long time ago, when I think they did work with FaZe and 100 Thieves or a few of those orgs. It was a Search and Destroy game mode. So I think as soon as they continue to figure out what works and what doesn't, we're going to see them continue to like break the mold, essentially.
100%. All right. The last one, this last one was kind of similar to like the one I had, because I have my own Fortnite conspiracy theory. So I'll read out theirs, but then I'll also give out mine after, because they're sort of similar. So this person said, my Fortnite conspiracy theory is that the map makers are on the payroll from Cammy and always give him inside information as by the final year of the season, in the past 3 years, his drop spot has been the best with an abundance of loot, such as Cammy splits and all the other Cammy splits and Frenzy, etc., etc. Mine wasn't that specifically about someone being on the payroll, but mine was, remember when we had the whole like north-south exploit, where it's like if you're facing north, right, you take every wall, blah, 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 right? There was like this game-breaking exploit that nobody knew about for ages, and it was just always there, but nobody knew, except for exclusive amount of pros. My conspiracy is that there is something akin to that that Cammy and Seti know, and it's the reason why they always land in the south of the map. Since chapter 1, these guys only land in the south of the map. And my conspiracy is that there is something they know that is just, again, broken, game changing, something. I don't know what it is, but there's something that they know.
They won from the east of the map, though.
But it was southeast.
Just though, like
it was southeast. It's always
southeast.
You go back and look at all
it had a little lean on it.
It's always the south.
The bottom half.
How south it is isn't important. It's just
Chapter
always
3,
the south.
Season 1, when they weren't together, Seti landed at the north.
And Seti didn't do good.
And he did shit. That's what I'm about to say. And he did awful.
Cammy knows it.
Cammy knows it.
What do the stats say? Kinch, what do the stats say? Is there anything we don't know about the map from the north and the south side? Is there hidden loot? Is there more loot down there? More fishing spots? Like, what do we got here?
You really expect me to reveal? You really expect me to tell you on air?
Yeah, let's just leak it to the world.
Thousands of people.
Yeah.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. But yeah,
he's on the payroll.
When you shoot north from your surge base, you get a 1% extra aim assist.
I mean, imagine if there was something like that. Who knows, man? I don't know. And
I thought
this is all for entertainment purposes. I am only joking.
Time of day.
Yeah.
I always thought that there's definitely. I thought your conspiracy theory was going to be that there's some bug like that, or a number of bugs that still there's like a handful of people know how to exploit like that, and they're just not telling anyone.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Possible to a small extent.
A good one if you want to actually figure one out is wonder why all of the pros as they glide in hold their stairs out.
Ooh. Oh, wait, you're cooking now. Oh shit. We had that
one down.
Watch Cammy land as he goes to the south side of the map. That boy always got his stairs held out.
Interesting. Oh my god, someone's gonna DM us angrily, like, why are you leaking, bro?
Leak it. Oh, makes you move at least 10% faster. I got you.
Okay. We had I did have a lot of submissions about like people like 10% of the lobby in the grand finals is always cheating, or these amount of pros are cheating. I was like, yeah, man,
you know, that's a conspiracy. That's an accusation.
Yeah. What I've realized from this is basically all of the conspiracy theories are just things that Bloodx tweeted in like 2022.
Yeah, basically, more or less. Yeah. All right. Well, that's Fortnite conspiracy theories. Thank you for sending yours in. That was very interesting. It was fun reading through some of those. We're back, episode 12. We got some amazing guests with us today. Return guest, Kinch. We had Kinch on not too long ago. Kinch, I actually want to let you know this. I didn't tell Kinch this, by the way, so he doesn't know. This is the first time he's hearing this. I had so many people after that app DMing me, like, please get Kinch back, please. Like, we love Kinch. He was so good. Bring him back, bring him back. So, and they never did that with any other guests. So, you know, Destiny Jesus, Mini Minor, all of them in the mud. Everyone loves Kinch.
I was wondering when you invited me back for this one, I was like, what's going on? Am I becoming a regular or something? I thought I was just a one-time guest.
The people wouldn't mind. I'm sure the people wouldn't mind. And of course, we're joined by the lovely Jacob MVPR, my casting partner, my former casting partner now. In a while, but you know, good to have you here, brother.
Yeah, glad to be here. You know, I've been just trying to do more and more, I guess, this year. Just trying to put myself out there, you know, just yap as much as I can. And because, you know, I'm good at it and I just never stop. And I think this year, you know, I've been meeting more and more of the community members, which is surprising. And not so much the top level. I'm not necessarily just trying to focus on the top level because everybody kind of knows them. But I want to meet everybody that makes Fortnite what it is. Because if we only had the top level players, Fortnite wouldn't exist. Fortnite competitive wouldn't exist. So I just want to see that next level that's coming up, especially with EU having the chance. And then obviously I do a lot of NA stuff. So yeah,
you've been doing a lot of NA stuff. You've basically been covering NA fully. I've seen all your viewing parties and your streams, which has been really fun. So be sure to check Jacob out. He's been doing some great stuff. Let's talk about FNCS though. Let's talk about and of course we have Reese as well. How can I forget Reese? Sorry, how can I forget?
I'm also here, guys.
The big dog. Yeah, but he doesn't need an intro. Man.
You got to introduce yourself too, though. You were just introducing the guests, and now you get the regulars.
My name is 11-2K. If you weren't familiar, I talk about Fortnite sometimes. Reminder while you're watching right now. I say this every week, but I'm going to keep reminding you guys. Please subscribe to the channel. A lot of you are watching on YouTube right now and you literally just don't even you watch the podcast every week. Like, why not just subscribe, bro? Like, what's the issue here? So please keep subscribing. Appreciate all your support lately. It's been fun. We're still looking for people who can do short form content like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all of that. If you have the ability to do that and you watch the podcast, DM me on Twitter at 112k. Show me examples of your work and what you've done in the past, and let's figure something out, man. Let's figure something out. Now let's talk about Fortnite and FNCS and not conspiracy theories. This week we had qualifier 2 wrap up. We obviously had, the last qualifier now until semi-finals. Semi-finals is in quite a while now, but what did everyone make of the qualifiers? Obviously in EU we had FNtasia winning FNCS week 2, playing with Starkus. A bit of a surprise, I think, for a lot of people. When I was seeing them flying up the leaderboards, I was like, I don't have a Scooby-Doo who these guys are. Like, I recognize FNtasia's name, like I've seen it on a leaderboard before, but like I was like, I'm not too familiar with these guys. Do you guys have the same reaction? I'm guessing you probably did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Imagine, if you could bet on Fortnite, these guys would have been like 1,000 to 1 to win that qualifier.
Yeah.
Most of the people watching this have never even heard of them. They did make the final last week, I think, as well.
Yeah, maybe that's why I recognize.
Yeah, and they've made the lower bracket the last couple of seasons for semis. Yeah, like this is a massive leap up for them. It's crazy.
Yeah,
do you feel like? Oh no, you go, Reese.
I was literally just going to say, like, I opened the leaderboard because I didn't end up watching, like, right till the end of the thing. Yeah, opened up this morning. I was like, what's going on here? I was like, who are these guys? So I checked out, opened up, and I was like, man, they have less than 2k earned both, and they've both won qualifier number 2. That's insane. Especially then I started to look through, like, the points across all regions and things like that. Like, you see winning points of 217 and then like 214, 210. And like usually EU's really close because it's really competitive. And I think there was kind of the opposite this week where it was really close because everyone just didn't really care. So they're like, we did a good game. We've called to uppers guaranteed. And, you look at every other region, it's like 300, 330, 350. Like Asia was like 380 to win. And EU is, is 217. Dang.
Yeah, there was like a real mix of teams that like needed to do well to get into uppers. So like there were a ton of teams that needed to win basically to get uppers, and then just a load of teams that didn't care, as you said. So just a bit of madness.
Yeah, you could sort of really feel that throughout like the games where it was like it did feel like a really weird day. It's not to say that there wasn't any like standout performances. Like early on, I was really impressed with Cammy and Seti's first couple games. I was like, okay, like this is gonna be like, we're gonna see, some decent competition today. And it didn't quite, turn into anything like that. Again, we had conversations last week on the pod about like weirdness of the leaderboard because it was like that last week, and I feel like this week is even more so, where you're just sort of like, who's like, what's going on here? Is this just a sign of the times in EU? Is this a sign of the format this season for the qualifiers? Like, should we be overreacting to this? Like, is this like a problem per se in any means, or do you guys sort of just look at this and go, it is what it is, just random qualifier, who cares?
We know this is a problem, and this is not a problem necessarily from a player's perspective, but it's a problem from the format, and I think it also is just the season as well. Like yesterday, after watching EU, I went on to NA and I started watching like Clix and Vino's first 2 games before I went to sleep, and they're taking it serious. They're trying lock it in because they know this is like the best practice they'll probably get until grand finals, maybe semi-finals, but even that format may skew things as well. And I was like, cool, there's a top team in there taking it seriously, and it makes sense from the caliber of players and team that they are. That is not everyone. That is absolutely not everyone, because almost every single team in this, obviously not everyone, as Kinch mentioned, has definitely qualified to semi-finals, and the majority have already qualified to upper bracket. I say majority, I just imagine it is the majority. So there's literally nothing to play for outside of practice. And if there's anything we know about Fortnite players, it's like doing things that are good for you that might not be insanely fun is often not at the top of their to-do list. So just W keying and just not really caring is often the result of that. So yeah, format awful. At least it was a set lobby this season, so that we could watch 50 teams not care,
Yeah, true. Fair enough, yeah. It's interesting because I saw a bit of debate about that, where I think Kelly on the NA broadcast did like a whole like top of show segment about like really fighting back and pushing against the idea that upper bracket doesn't matter. But like it's felt a lot like the community sentiment of late has been like, does upper bracket matter? Like I've seen a lot of pros actively just sort of like, yeah, I'm not too fussed about if I'm in the upper bracket or not. What is like people's stances on this? I'm sure Kinch has a take here because he always has a take with stuff like this. But,
sounds like a numbers thing.
It does seem like a numbers thing, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a little difficult to quantify which is better because, I mean, what you can do, like on basic terms, is just see how many teams qualified from upper one to grands and how many went from lower one to grands.
Yeah.
But inevitably, you're going to get a way bigger percentage from upper one. Firstly, because the teams are just better on average in upper one, so they should have a better chance of getting to grands. Secondly, there's just so many people in lowers that not all of them can even get out of low. Like, 90%, 80% of them are never going to get out of lowers by definition of the format.
Yeah.
So you can't really just look at those numbers alone. So it's really difficult to actually tell. What I would say is that upper two is surely way better than lower two.
Yeah.
Because upper two guarantees that you'll at least get into lower three.
Yeah.
So in the second round of matches, you really want to be in the upper bracket. Then you can sort of work backwards from there, which is, so is it easier to get into upper two from upper one or lower one?
But then that's where
really sure.
So that's the key, right? Because that's where like a lot of context comes in, because then you'll get some people that'll be saying, oh yeah, then you want to be in upper two because if you stay in that lobby. But like the example that I think was going around, and I think Ozzy was using this example, because Blake was in his chat, and Blake on the NA side of things was like, or in upper, my spot is double conned. So if I was playing in upper, I'm like, it's just AIDS, So he was like, I'd rather start in lower one, because then both of those teams are likely to just dud each other out, and then I go into upper two uncon. Was like how he sees it, right? Or at least even if it's not uncon, at least he's conning one. But it's like
single con.
In that situation, it's like for him, it's definitely better to start in lower, right?
I think it might depend how confident you are in lower. Like some teams, especially on NA, where there isn't so much depth probably in the lower bracket, it can be super easy for a top team to get through lower bracket. But I think maybe on EU, it's not that certain that you'll get through unless you're the craziest team ever.
I feel like if throughout the couple of weeks you've proven you can get a win, and not even necessarily first place in the tournament, but if you can get a win with other stack players in your lobby, you probably want to go to upper round one because that's going to give you a chance. Doesn't necessarily mean if you don't get a win, you're going to go to upper round two, because if you're kind of playing for the win, you never know what'll happen. And then as soon as like lowers, for example, there's a lot more volatility because it's 10 games, different players in your game every time. Like Blake was saying, like you can get contested uppers. Well, guess what? You could still get triple quad con in lowers as well because of the amount of players in there. So to me, if you're good at the game, just play your game, go to uppers, play your game. And I think that's where a lot of the confidence comes from, because and I think more so on NA, maybe it's just because I watch it more, maybe because there's more vocal. I think everybody in NA just thinks they're good. Everybody thinks they're tier one in NA. I think EU, it's a little bit more realism of where they kind of are, and I think they match their play style to it just a little bit better. So I just feel like in NA we're gonna have a bit of a wake up call this season, and I think for them, for the NA side of things, it's more important for them to start in uppers one than lowers one. But on EU, I think it's more of a balance, because you have obviously the stars that went over, you have the ones that are going to win a game, so you kind of have more of an outlook of what to expect in EU versus NA.
It's something really important there, is that NA thinks they're good, and if this podcast has taught us anything, we know that that's definitely not true. So it's definitely going to be an awakening, I think, in semis, as you mentioned.
It's interesting because for that same point you were making, Jacob, of like, if you're good, play your game. I think part of that is why there is some truth to that element of like uppers doesn't matter, because, or at least getting uppers initially doesn't matter, just because like if you are good, then and you genuinely feel like you're just gonna make it through lower one anyway, because you'd argue it's probably easier lobbies because the better players are typically in upper for that first day. So it's like a lot of those guys, you're probably just not too worried. All in all, regardless of whether it is true, right? Because I think some people are trying to find like a factual answer of, is upper better than lower, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of all that, the fact that players don't feel that way, like they don't feel like uppers matters, and hence the quality
Problem.
of the qualifiers is affected, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So regardless of if it's true or not, the
There
fact
should
that
never
the
be any
players,
debate.
yeah, it shouldn't be a debate. So, and we saw the effect of that, I feel like, especially in EU and on NA a bit, but especially in EU, like it did genuinely just feel like a lot of like guys. I always just hate saying people aren't trying, but like, do you know what I mean? Like it just felt like people just weren't putting their best foot forward in some of those games and just chalking it up to, yeah, who cares? It's like, we're not getting anything. We're not getting money out of this. I'm already qualified for semifinals. So who cares?
I was just going to say,
I'm
yeah.
saying it's like a cash cup.
Well, what if you put
Like a cash cup
10K for
almost.
first and some prizing for top 10? Do you think the leaderboard changes?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so. I hate the thought of that because I'm the one, and maybe I'll get burned for this one, but like I'm the one with like Fortnite. Even if they cut the prize money like they did in certain areas, they're still giving out so much money to everybody else. Like, what other game gives out money, one, for a qualifier, or the amount of like money they give away for cash cups, right? So like when I hear about the prize money, I'm just like, bro, let me take off my headset and throw it out the window, because you guys are still have a chance at life-changing money very, very regularly, and to me it's just like, you should be fighting for a chance to continue your season, not for prize money, because the prize money comes when you make it to that final. So if you're not trying because you're qualifier, whatever, and you somehow don't make it into FNCS grand finals, it's not the game at that point. It's your mindset going into it because you think it doesn't matter where you start. And I think a lot of Fortnite players, and I can go on a tangent about this, their just mindset isn't there. They get carried by their skill. They don't get carried by their work ethic.
I do 100% agree. But
Yeah, I mean, money should not be the solution.
Yeah.
What's the but?
But money shouldn't be the solution. But I've not found a better solution. What else we got here? Just give them a little cash. Just make the games good. Give us something to watch. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're better.
Changes.
Yeah, or just make the fucking format better. But I don't know. It's like, I'm yet to also see a format that fixes all these problems as well. You know, it's.
I think you just need something where your series point, like your final placement on the series point leaderboard, actually carries through somehow into semis or something, so that there is a difference between winning it and coming 50th.
Right.
True.
I'm gonna hit you with it. Fuck qualifiers. Fuck cash cups. Just gonna merge them together. And you're gonna have like 5 weeks of qualifiers that are also good cash cups all in a row. Then that just takes you to semis. But it's a way that if you miss a qualifier and you're good, you're still not going to be totally screwed to get to semis. You know, there's going to be some sort of qualification system that a series points that's like somewhat forgiving, so that you try each week for the money and to get to semis. But it's not too bad that if you miss something, then you have a great semis and then you're into grand finals. Yet to have like a way that I think could actually just be better from a spectating perspective, keep top teams in, keep more interesting without just like having dudded fucking qualifiers into boring semis every time as well, you know.
This was actually a take someone came with during Hotline FN last week.
I did listen to that. Yes, I listened to it, and then you did not agree at all, and I was like,
yeah,
really.
I didn't agree from the perspective
listening.
of just like so they what they specifically had said was like make the duo cash cups like a series point, like just make it so that the results from that end up being series point leaderboard, and that gives you some qualifier spots. So they were a bit different. They didn't like say like revamp the whole thing. They were just like, wow, that like some people would get their semi spots through cash cups.
Yeah,
and you still would have the qualifiers, but it would just be like added spots through cash cups. But
like a last chance qualifier for the fun. That
almost, yeah,
like a bad idea.
Almost something like that. I think there's ways to effectively like revamp the format so that like over the course of the season, like what those cash cups are, like those are like placeholders for what would be a more formal FNCS qualifier over the course of the season. I definitely think there's like ideas like that are pretty decent. But just like where I disagreed was just right now, what cash cups are, you just add qualifier spots to that or add series points spots to that. Like for me, that doesn't make sense.
I love the idea of having more qualifiers.
Same.
Over
I think
the
everyone
years,
does.
gone down. I think there was like there one season where there was like 5 qualifiers.
Yeah, season X there was 5.
Yeah,
and then there was,
and then it's slowly gone down and down. And for me, that's not good because the FNCS, the name FNCS means a lot to comp players.
Yeah,
and that's what they really want to work towards. And I think by extending it from 2 back to maybe 3 or 4 qualifiers, or even more, I don't think it would really dilute the prestige of the name. It's just something you're working on all season. And
I think we
people-
dilute
I
the
think they would
prestige of the
love that.
name currently by having less. Like, I feel like we make
Potentially.
like the fact that now FNTS returns in 3 weeks or whatever, and now for the majority of players, FNTS is gone. Like, it's just not there. Like, that almost dilutes
Rest
it.
of
Now
the
it's
year.
out. Yeah, for a lot of people. Yeah, for now the rest of the year until
It's 6 months.
2025.
Literally, yeah, you're done.
For 99% of players, there is just no more FNCS.
Or until
Unless
OG.
we get something. Yeah, until OG or whatever, right? But it's like, you know, without knowing what the future holds in that sense. Whereas, like, even when you look back before Season X, right? World Cup was like 10 weeks of qualifiers. Like, that was a lot
Oh
of just
my god!
qualifying.
What
Like,
time?
it is, right? Like, I'm not saying I want to necessarily go right back to World Cup times and copy everything from them, but in terms of just like having more qualifiers, like, yeah, we definitely need to revamp and do more. Staying on the topic of FNCS this week, E side of things, maybe not too interesting there. There were some cool things, like, again, I mentioned City and Cammy looked decent in some of their games before they started getting conned, and that looked really bad. You know, Sky and Scroll were doing pretty decent as well in some games that looked fun. On the NA side of things, though, a couple more interesting sort of narratives there. Peterborough and Poyo weren't completely dudded. They won, and everybody's been doubting them and saying that they've fallen off and that they were fraudulent and they were made by Grimgate and that they were frauds and they suck. This was all just what Coach Harry said as well, by the way. Just
Word
not
for
even
word, bar
counting
for
the
bar.
rest of the stuff. Yeah. But then they win the qualifiers. Narrowly win, but they win.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised. I mean, they land at Red Line Rig. They start with the good loot. It's the tournament yesterday started off with them being uncontested. It turned into them being contested, and it wasn't necessarily that good of a team. It was Yagvir in school. No disrespect there, but they're from NA West. They're not big names. Usually when they make the finals lobby, they don't take it serious because then they started switching up their drop spot. They ended up landing on Reet and Ritual later on in the same game. So to me, I'm not too surprised. I'm more surprised they didn't make last week than winning this week.
Yeah. I had sort of put in the runner show like the question, like, are they back? I don't think they ever left.
Yeah.
but
Absolutely agree.
yeah. It's like it's one of those things where they clearly again took the foot off the gas a bit in like the weeks leading up, and when it mattered and they didn't even need to have a good performance, but when they decided that a good performance would benefit them on the day, they put in one and they win. So I think with them landing Red Line, still a favorite to win FNCS. They should be. Like, I've seen people like in chat rooms like, are Peterborough and Poyo still favorites? I'm like, what? Like, how are we? Like, how do we go from the most dominant FNCS performance of all time to like, are they favorites in their region? Like, of course they're favorites.
You gotta start reading TikTok comments on this. I've not gone down this rabbit hole yet since they won. Because obviously they were washed. They were the worst team ever. They've fallen off. Now they've won. Are they back? Most importantly, are they back on TikTok? I think that's the discussion we really
That's
need to be
true,
delving into here. Like, what do the big brains think about it? I think it's it's interesting looking at their average elims this season in comparison to next, though. Like, they weren't even the top fragging duo in this event, even though they won, right? Like, they averaged 5.6 instead of like Reet and Ritual, which were 7. And obviously, Reet and Ritual always usually are pretty elim heavy regardless.
And this week in particular, they had an especially elim heavy week. Like, they were going crazy, like 2 12 elim wins, or not wins, sorry, like top 3s or something like that.
But it's interesting that like they didn't have any bombs of a game in comparison to, obviously we were sitting here last season's qualifier seeing like the 10 15s always in the double digits, and now like this season not even like a single double digit game, which is interesting because obviously they still have the rig loot, which is incredibly powerful. So I just wonder if that's like a trend we'll see going into like grand finals at all, or if it's just, I don't know, is it just a qualifier and does it mean anything,
Might I dare say that maybe the Nitro Splashes was kind of hurting them these past couple weeks, because like I feel like Nitro Splashes made it really easy for a top player to get caught off guard, which would then eventually lead to an elimination. And if you look at Peterbot and Poyo's play style through last week, they go for eliminations. They run around the map. They try to fight the first person they see, which means if somebody's sneaking around and third partying, they can easily Nitro into the box, take them down. Now that they can be a little bit more themselves, a little bit more comfortable, take fights with a little less risk, I think that is a huge reason to why they succeeded. But I'm also going to be one of those guys that say if Reet and Ritual didn't get landed on surprisingly by two different teams in that last game, they, you know what I mean? They do well. They got 28th place in that last game, and all they needed was a 22nd place to win overall. So, you know, Peterbot and Pollo, they're a threat, but I also think NA overall, there's about like 8 teams that can win FNCS. It depends on how they're playing that weekend.
Yeah. Reet and Ritual in particular was so impressive. So like their first 4 games were a 3rd place 12 elims, 5th place 8 elims, 3rd place 7 elims, 2nd place 12 elims. Like they were going crazy. Like they were playing Fortnite. And they looked really good. And I've been a hater of Reckless Railways this season for many different reasons. So
and last season.
Yeah, I'm just a hater.
Just historically, I would say. Yeah.
Batman Booga and Rapid did really well, and they've consistently been doing really well as well, actually. Like, they've been in every tournament this season. They're always pretty high up there in the NA leaderboards. Compared to EU, NA just sort of looked like as standard. There were a couple names that maybe didn't do quite as well, right? You know, I saw Yomzo and Taysom were a bit low down there. Pink and Mero were 19th, which wasn't amazing. A lot of people were putting that Epic One Threats, who came 30th. Let me not get myself labeled as an Epic World hater on there, but I don't know if I was mighty surprised by that. Again, 30th maybe is still a bit too low for them, but yeah. All in all, though, things in NA just keep heating up and looking more exciting. It's like we go from one week where you have a bunch of people who look like, okay, these are the set favorites now, blah, blah, blah. It's all the EU hybrid guys. But then this week we had a lot of like just the traditional good NA guys do really well, where you're like, going into semis and grands, man, it is looking so fun on NA.
I have a question to fire back at you on this. You know, there's this idea, I think also, like, we'll say the Blood X teams have like the perfect game plan, you know, where it really minimally involves going for elims, relying on that, and very surge heavy, very positional heavy, not taking the risk of taking a fight. Do you think for Clix and Vino that might be a downside potentially? Now, obviously, they won the first qualifier, they've come 5th now, but I'm just kind of looking at what we've always talked a little bit about Vino and Tayson across last season, where fragging ability was, or I would say fragging ability, or just like the showcasing of their fragging ability was pretty poor, right? Losing off spawn a bunch, average elims was pretty poor last season. You know, I'm still also now looking at the Clix and Vino from this week, because I watched the first 2 games just from like Vino stream, just because I was awake, because now thank you for changing the times. I can watch them from EU. And, you know, it's not that they were like struggling to fight. It's just like they're just playing so safe and so smart. Let's be real. Like it's a very, very good game plan, that they're just not getting any like refreshes or elims at all. Do you think that may hurt them in the long run from winning? Or is this like the game plan that gets them to qual to globals?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. It might leave them trailing behind teams like Ritual, Reet, Peterbot that are going to drop 10, 12 elims per game. But if they can play consistent top 10 every game, then that's what's going to get them to globals. So.
Yeah, and I think that more so is the priority. Yeah, I think the big thing there when we talk about like that type of style of play, right? And it's one of the problems that I've always sort of had with like certain players who try to play that way with Blood X, was that that doesn't suit everyone's game, right? Like there's some players who inherently, like when you look at their strengths and weaknesses, that type of playstyle was perfect. Like for a Seti and Kami, that is perfect, right? For a Tayson in 2024, like that is perfect. For Clix, that doesn't optimize his skill set. Like that type of playstyle doesn't optimize his skill set, right? Like that's, you know, it's the same thing I'd say if you were to put Cold and Acorn and try get them to play that style. I'd be like, well, yeah, they might have success from it. It's not optimizing their skill set. And I think as a coach, like it's a hard balance to get. I think you have to almost give freedom to like the person leading to, you know, make certain calls in situations that like allow you to, you know, go the other way, right? And I think we've seen that a bit with Fenno and Clix at times, where like they will just make a more RNG play in the mind maybe of Blood X, but it's one where they feel it's a calculated risk enough that they will benefit from. And so I'm not too worried about them. There was actually a moment, it's good you mentioned Fenno and Clix there, because there was a moment on Height where they were fighting against Peterbot and Pollo, which got me really excited for Grands. And it's a bit annoying because one of the things we've always said about NA is that just height is just disgustingly easy. Like nobody looks up in that region.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with a lot of the EU players that came over, it wasn't like these high ground demons, right? Like Tayson hasn't really enjoyed playing high ground for some years now. Same with Pink. Pink's not really played it that much. Like Veno's the only one that came over where you're like, okay, like this is going to be a guy that wants to look for height. I wish we would have maybe got a couple more because some of those height battles on NA would be so much fun if we did, but it was still really cool to see them going up and fighting up against Peterborough and Poyo. So, nah, I definitely think their style of play is more likely to get them globals and win FNTS, which is kind of obvious anyway, but it's like, I agree with what you're saying, Reese. I agree with what you're saying. I agree.
Just interesting.
They can
Especially
still win
teams.
tournaments, as we saw last week, even playing safe, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes these end games are just going to work out perfectly, and you're going to win 3 games like they did last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that's going to stop them is kind of like what Reese is saying, is the eliminations, and mainly because of the point multiplier on day 2. You can match up with the placements, but if Reet is out slaying you 3-4 elims a game, that's 6 points per elim. You're not going to be able to keep up with that pace.
Yeah, not at all. One of the last things on FNCS I wanted to touch on, obviously, is now that qualifiers are done, some people are out of FNCS completely. Unlucky DJ and Reese, one of the top teams, they are no longer. Man. Yeah, they will no longer be in FNCS. I think the biggest name on EU that I noticed was Andelex and Sato, right? Last two grand finals, they've been a top team. They've qualified to globals, and they're just not going to be here in Major 3. We're not going to see them play high-level Fortnite now until Global Championships, which is in 3 months from now.
I know what's up. I know what's up. Okay. Just let me just let the knowledge bomb.
Cook, you cook.
French guys, communities always to themselves. They always keep stuff. They chat. They're away from the rest of the communities most of the part. I think this is an intentional throw here, so they can save strats for globals and not show them this major.
Wow.
The French are going to come out strong. They're going to have a bigger crowd in Texas than they ever had in the 2023 Global Championships. It's going to be all these orgs. KC's going to be there. Whatever that org was that was screaming also is going to be there. Gentlemates is going to be there. Everyone's going to be screaming, and it's going to be Andelex and Sato on top because they've hidden the strats this season.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, I love the thought, but they could just go to Grands and then just not use the strats.
The French know something you don't, Kench.
No, true.
It'd be impossible to hide it. That's my conspiracy.
Impossible to hide it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What'd you say when the French are doing good?
Allez les bleus!
Allez les bleus. There you go. I don't say it often, obviously. Allez les bleus.
Yeah, okay,
to me, it's just Fortnite. I mean, we've seen it before. Even after Queasy and Veno went 6 of 6, they missed the major right after. We've seen it before. I don't think it's too alarming. I think it's more alarming the lack of good practice they're going to get, because you could save those strats to globals. The game is probably going to change, and they might be useless. You never know what would happen. So I just play the game out, get your practice in FNCS, because you don't know when you're going to get that big practice again before globals.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just like the disappointing thing is like what I said. Like we will literally now just not see these guys play high level Fortnite for 3 months until Global Championships. Like that feels just way too long. I guess the last thing Fortnite related FNCS wise, because I want to talk about Reload. Obviously we saw Nitros get nerfed in that update on Saturday. They reduced structure damage from 300 to 90. Celebrations, I mean, thank you. Finally,
That's it. End of segment.
I think a main point. Thank you. No, I'm not going to say thank you. I'm not going to tell him thank you. I'm going to say, what the fuck were you thinking putting that in the game to start with me? I'm not going to say thank you. This is like Stockholm Syndrome at its finest. Oh, thank you for removing the most busted item effect in game that you put in. And you didn't take it. Oh, it was in for what? How many weeks? 4 or 5 weeks? Doing 300 structure damage. This is when we talked earlier about, play tests, they're maybe not cutting it for some things. Obviously, I'm sure someone in Epic was like, I can just run through these builds, and this is kind of stupid. I'm sure there was people in Epic that were doing that at the time, but the fact that Nitro stayed 300 structure damage through both FNCS opens as well. Like, only changed the morning of round 2 is absolutely insane.
Yeah. But at least it's 90 now.
Yeah. I will say, from as I've now played a tournament with it on with 90s, because we did play round 2 FNCS, and man, fighting was so much better. Like,
yeah,
the fact that like you stagger, say, in a rotation in one of those mid or very early moving zones, and you don't have to put ramps inside your box. It's like, oh, I can now edit and look at someone and shoot them rather than just sitting in there on a ramp. And then like sometimes we'd take like a little small window edit. Like if we were sitting in two boxes with ramps in the middle, DJ would like make a little window edit. And he'd be spraying at someone, and I'm sitting behind him. I'm like, mate, I can't see. You don't want to peek out too much. I was like, I can't edit this ramp though because someone will just nitro in the back of my box. So, yeah.
So would you say this is probably one of the more balanced things in Fortnite now? Because I think it still has its use case to break into some boxes. Obviously, that's not the primary way. Negates fall damage, unlimited sprint, the speed boost. So I think it's now one of the more balanced items, and I think it's now a necessity in the meta rather than something that's just suffocating the meta.
Yeah, I got smoked for my opinion on this. As I said last season or last week, I said this meta is really good if they nerf Nitro. I said I actually really enjoy this meta if they nerf the Nitro, which with both Boop and Levin decided to leave out of their comments as when they mentioned that.
Not as fun if I add the context. Dude.
And dying to Nitro in FNCS every single game was actually just it's just miserable. It's just, and especially mid-lane, so those people are just. Some of those, I'm not even going to say it, mate, but the decision-making skills are specifically lacking on some of those players, we'll say. And
continue.
Yeah, I was going to say, then I just don't know what I was going to say after that. I was probably just going to roast some Middle East people.
Probably, that's what you do every week.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, though, I've seen a lot of pros, ironically now, actually unironically, these pros have been saying, like, I want Fist back. The game's a bit boring now. And it's the nerfed Fist, sort of current version of Fist that are in like pubs and ranked and stuff that aren't as strong as the original Fist. They're just like, I want that mobility back now. Now that we ain't got to worry too much about like everything destroying your box and stuff like that, like bring Fist back in now. How do you guys feel about that? You want to see Fist back in?
No. So these people who are saying this have definitely not played a game of ranked once this season, because sure, like Fists are nerfed, but when they're in your box and you're swinging, like it's still close to impossible to hit them. Like they're still pushing you back. They're still doing tons of damage. The hitbox is still massive on them hitting you. So it's like, sure, it doesn't break the builds, but it's still so brain dead of like an item to fight inside of the box anyway. So I guarantee you, all these people who are sitting there saying, I want the Fists to come back for mobility, would cry the same as I would with Nitro when someone clobbers them into their box, Yeah,
and the main reason for me is just like in those situations where you're 30 HP, you're running away, or maybe even end game, and it's just like it's too easy to just turn around and punch somebody, get an elim, you find the scry, you crash down, and then it's like in a situation where like 90% of the time you should go down and you have to work for that play and do everything. You're shaking your table, your mouse is getting whipped around, and you just click a button and you just punch to your. That, to me, it's just too easy, get out of jail free in a lot of those scenarios. And even with the nerf changes, so like I just want to keep them out. Let's kind of make it to where a lot of the moves and the calculations just have to be that. They have to be calculated versus just press a button, spam it, and just hope for the best.
At risk of pissing off the casuals, if Fist were to be added back, I think they need another nerf before they'd be added back.
Recharge time.
Yeah, I'd say recharge time, and also like the length you can punch people. Like you can like uppercut someone from like a box and a half away. It feels like it's just not balanced still. But yeah, hopefully no casuals are listening. They probably all left after we started talking about FNCS.
Well, I was going to say one quickly on that point. On that, this was my conspiracy theory that I've forgotten about. This is actually a conspiracy theory. Is that they fixed the bug which was fly up into the sky infinitely. I've got a short out on it that shows you. So which is one of the reasons why they removed it. But they put it straight back into ranked and pubs. I think someone in Epic is like, let's just not tell them the bug's fixed. Like, let's just keep them out of comp. They've just not told the rest of the team that the bug is still in it, and they're like, let's just keep it out for the rest of the season. That's my conspiracy theory. So that's why maybe after FNCS Grands, they'll be like, oh yeah, we fixed the bug. Yeah, the bug's been fixed. Just put it straight back into tournaments then. But I think until FNCS, they'll stay out for that reason alone.
That is a good point, because I was really wondering, because like it is like, so they removed it, right? That one weekend when they removed it and there was the bug and people were like, yeah, you can, it's game breaking because you can get in Sky Infinity. But then they added it back very quickly to pubs and stuff, which means they fixed the bug, but then they just didn't add it back to comp. And like, I didn't see anybody really talking about it. It's like, why didn't they add it back to comp? I don't mind, because
please keep it out.
Yeah, keep it out. But it's like, are we just going to ignore that? But that's a bit, I like that conspiracy theory.
I think that's a legitimate conspiracy.
Yeah, maybe everybody, because everybody was wanting them gone before that, so maybe they were just like, all right, well, they're gone. We had to disable them anyway. Let's just keep them out of the game. Don't have to worry about them bringing them back. They got what they wanted, essentially, and let's just not talk about it because of the discussions that were already going down, the casuals versus competitive. Let's just not continue to kind of like poke that bear. So it's just my thought process on that.
It's like the Hades chain from last season. We find a bug, we remove it from a comp, and then it doesn't come back again. Okay.
No, I like it like that. I like it like that. I know Reese, you gotta go soon, so I'm gonna let's get to the last sort of thing.
I got 10 minutes. Okay, we're still good. Don't rush.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about Fortnite Reload, and I know you've been having a lot of fun playing it.
Man,
Fortnite Reload, it was announced like the day before it came out. It was announced on like Friday or like Thursday evening or something. They really fast tracked this one. Apparently they started development for Fortnite Reload like end of May. So like they have gotten this out quick. But yeah, no, there was some sort of leak or something that came out where it was like, yeah, like you can see they started development on it like end of May. What does everyone think of Fortnite Reload? I mean, I've been enjoying it a lot.
They cooked.
They
cooked. They baked. That was a 5-star meal. Like there are some tweaks I want out of this, but as a game mode out of the box from Fortnite, because we've seen a lot of the limited time. It's a lot of fun. It's wonky. It's items. They, I think, did a fantastic job with this, and not just like the loot pool, the game plan, and then they have stuff for the casuals. You got the golden flopper that you could throw at somebody that you see Mr. Savage just chucking around. Like there is a lot of fun, and I feel like there's something for everyone in this mode.
I got that mythic flopper like the second or third game I played of it in over chest. I was like, oh my god, this is so good. And I do a little window edit on the box fight this guy. I throw at him and he blocks it with a ramp and then he one pumps me. I was like, damn. And then I'm spectating DJ as I normally do, and he just gets one hit by it like 2 minutes later. I was like, it's come back full circle. But yeah, it's as a game mode, I think like I feel like what's happened here is they saw the success of late game mode, however many years ago that was, like the end game mode, and they were like, we need something that's works, because that game did not work lag-wise. And they've just decided to create something more fast-paced, something go smaller player base, something you get guaranteed quick loot, but it's still like a battle royale. And I think this is like literally almost the perfect thing. And I think it's interesting that no one asked for this, but they knew that this would be something good, and they've developed something that would be this level of fun.
Yeah, I think it's really helped to... They've kind of bridged the gap between what UFN kind of is and Battle Royale. They found like a mix between the two, where people love these UFN maps that are quick rounds. You die, you respawn, like Zone Wars, whatever. And people just love that sort of mode just to practice and have fun. So, and now they've found a way to mix that with Battle Royale, and that's kind of why it works great.
Yeah, this is their version of obviously the Call of Duty Rebirth stuff from Warzone. I can't lie, guys. I swear, whenever they just copy something from another game, it's just always so good. Can you guys just copy more? Like, I remember back in the day, they like take a bunch of stuff from Apex, and people are like, didn't Apex just add that a month ago? And they've added reboots and stuff. Yeah, like something like that. Guys, I mean, look, as long as you guys don't get in trouble, like just keep copying. Like, I'm so down. Like, this is fun. It's funny though, because I saw a lot of people go in. Typically, a lot of people go in. Player count numbers are down. So what do? They bring us an OG mode of some sort to bring everybody back in. And usually I don't like to entertain those like conversations where people are like, yeah, they're only doing this to get people playing again. Of course they do that to some degree, right? But it's like, I think the interesting thing was obviously like there was the Metallica concert on the weekend, right? So like it wouldn't surprise me if it was like they bump up the, like they use the mode to bump up the numbers, you know, to help make the concert more successful, because that then benefits them long term in terms of wanting to do other activations like that with cool brands, right?
Why would people be complaining that they're doing things to boost player numbers?
Right? Like it doesn't.
It's like great
what?
for everybody, including Fortnite and us.
And they act
Yes.
like Fortnite is like a unique case in doing stuff like that.
Right?
Like I before the Fortnite even came out, you got Gears of War. They're just giving out skins to the chat, and you can tell the difference when there's none, and when there is some, it's just like there's a huge, massive number difference. Why would a game or anything? You have a brand of chocolate. Why would you not want to do something to get more and more people trying your product?
That's
like
unacceptable.
Whatever it may be, as long as you're not hurting people, doing something illegal or malicious, I think just throw it out there and try it. And Epic has the money to do it, so why not continue to do this? And since it's so well received by the community, I'm almost excited what's next, whether it's a year down the line or 6 months down the line. I'm excited to see what's next, because once you give these developers the confidence and stuff like that, I feel like they realize they're going in the right direction of what the Fortnite community wants, and they've already said a lot of their experiences are going to be in UEFN and creative, so I'm just excited to see what they continue to cook up.
It's interesting that a game which is known for continually developing and putting out new updates and trying new things to get a player base, by the way, you know, to retain or get new player base, people are criticizing when they make an update that is to get or maintain new players. It's like, that's the whole point of Fortnite, man.
It's like, do you want the bots in your lobby or not? You know what I mean?
Right. Now this has been really fun to play. Like I've been playing this as much as I can. I was playing it up until like the very beginning of the EU FNCS broadcast this week. Like the broadcast started like 10 seconds before the broadcast started, I was like in game still. So
me and DJ were playing it whilst the broadcast was on. I'm like, I'm not watching this, man. I'm just playing Reload.
Yeah, man, don't watch. Yeah, no one watches it anyway. Can
I tell you one thing that would ruin Reload?
Oh,
no.
No, you know, go on.
Keep it to yourself.
No,
Go on, do it. Go on.
Making it into a comp mode.
That was gonna be the next thing I asked. I was like,
I don't think so. And the only reason why I say that, it's completely different games. Call of Duty did comp lobbies in the Resurgence mode and stuff.
Yeah,
it was fun because.
But did they have to change? Like you can't run it in the same format. They
just threw it how it was. Maybe the different point format, I think they changed it because Call of Duty is based off of you get 1 point per elim, and depending on what top rank, you get a point multiplier for your total points. So it's a much different format than what it's used to. So it is, you can kind of carry it over 1 for 1 for what the Warzone mode is.
Yeah.
But I think if you have, how many teams is it? 10 teams? If you have 10 of the best teams in the world on this mode, it's going to get fun. It's going to get chaotic, and it's going to be worth the watch.
It's going to be fun, but then, the next few months is just going to be complaints of remove this from the game, remove this from the game.
Okay,
I feel like...
So they either need to like completely split the loot pools immediately as soon as they try to run tournaments on it, or you just have to accept that this is a stupid fun comp mode. And
that's the option.
I think that's the better route.
I would say go with that.
Yeah, I want to see tournaments done on this, but I don't want to see us try and balance it for let's just run tournaments on this, like how it is.
Let's just not listen to the players this time.
No, genuinely. Like we already
the Friday Fortnite of tournaments.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like
like keep normal battle royale as the sensible comp mode. And just have a load of fun on this one.
No, I fully back that. Like fully back that. Like I want to desperately see a tournament run on this soon, because it would be unbelievable. But yeah, I was literally gonna say, like, I don't want to like be typical comp players and ruin everything, but should we be doing comp on this? And yeah, the consensus I think is yes.
The easiest way to make it like a balanced comp mode, even though loot pool is still kind of crazy, is just make it duos. Then you actually have like a mode which rewards the reboot system in a way. But isn't you, because like in squads, you could just have one guy just sit and not die the whole time and continually reboot, and then it's like a game of, can you gain enough loot by the time the reboots are all
reboots.
done.
I'm fine with that because you get
Yeah.
like elim points all the way.
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to make it like a more typical like battle royale style, you make it duos, and then it's like more risky to take fights and things like that, rather than just you could just kind of just be dumb and W key the shit out of it until the kind of the end, and then you get some mode. So there's ways where it's kind of exploitable in that way. But if you just made it duos, then it's way easier for you to die. The problem with this is if you're going to make this a comp mode, like as soon as someone spawns at the sky with hit scan weapons, like they're dead in pub lobbies.
Yeah,
There's no way you're surviving in a pro lobby. Like
very, very true. Everyone's just fucking based up all over the place. Like you are dead when you respawn. It's actually cooked. Still, I want to see something tried.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so say like squad victory cups that we've been playing, really fun, really fun. Yeah. Not competitive in the slightest, but this could be something along the same, where it's like going into it that the tournament is for fun, so it's different. It's like it's not going to be FNTasia's level competitive. So
no, I agree.
As long as it stays that way, people don't try and take it too seriously.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, I already saw like casuals upset about the mode. Like I've seen so many tweets and threads of like casuals who are just like, I won't step foot in this mode for 1 second. All the nasty little sweats are just joining together in this. It's like, it's the most terrible shit I've seen in so long.
To be honest, I had a bit of that experience myself, but yeah.
The problem is everybody's
loading in and getting pieced up.
I had both.
I
had games where I was fragging, like I was the booger of the lobby. But I also had games where everybody else was booger and I was 11-2K and getting shit on. So it's been a mixed bag.
The problem is the casuals and the competitive people, their definition of fun is so widely different. The casual guy is having fun, cracking jokes at your team, playing some Fortnite. Doesn't matter if they're in a roof, a bush, a building, or just walking around the map, right? A competitive person's version of fun is winning and getting a high number of elims and sweating, right? So while they're saying due to sweating, guess they forget that Peterbot is having the time of his life. It's the reason why he is on Fortnite. And I think that's one of the biggest things that separate casual from competitive when viewing Fortnite or any video game in general. Is just their idea of fun is different, right? I have fun, like, sitting in a corner, ARing somebody while Levin's going in and getting the elim. I'm smiling ear to ear when I'm being annoying, spraying that box and just, the minigun. And I'm one of those guys that's having fun doing that while, you guys are going in and getting the elim. So it's just different views of fun that I think people forget. And at the end of the day, it's a video game and the point is to have fun.
Yeah. I think the last thing I'd say on Reload would be, and I'd ask you guys this, do you guys think this is also their way of helping to scratch people's Chapter 1 OG itch, knowing that based off of the leaks, at least, this season's OG, or this year's OG is going to be Chapter 2? And obviously that in itself is like, had some people go, no, I'd rather just have, Chapter 1 again. But at least with this, we get, the sense of OG Chapter 1.
You could also say this is a Chapter 2 OG, though. Like, there's almost nothing about this which is Chapter 1 that isn't in Chapter 2 as well.
A lot of the spots, right?
A lot of the spots were in Chapter 2
itself.
As well. Yeah, that's
a lot
thing.
of true. Retail and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
So it's, I think it's maybe, but no, probably not.
I don't think it's so much scratching the OG itch, like to bring it back for the players to bring it back. I think it was just so much success for Fortnite OG. They were like, it on a business end, it's stupid not to do anything with OG again. So I think this is them kind of hitting a few check boxes of they like this OG. Let's check that one. They like smaller, fast-paced modes, which I feel like the stats might have shown that. Let's check that one. And then it's something new. So let's check that one. So I think this was them kind of, finding success on all fronts. And I think the numbers kind of prove it, since they're still, from what I saw last, above the regular Battle Royale mode.
A+ from FNtasia. Yeah. Anyone else? Any last thoughts on Reload?
I think if we put Bullet Drop back into the game, it would be horrific. Or, sorry, Hit Scan back into the regular game, it would be horrific. Because the amount of times I'm just getting beamed from like 100 meters away, just for like 1 or 2 shots, is insane. Like the difference playing hit scan weapons in comparison to playing Bullet Drop is madness. It's madness.
I definitely felt that. Yeah, hit scan is insane. But we love Fortnite Reload here. I'm gonna jump in like as soon as we're done with this. We are gonna be done with this though. A bit of a short ep than usual, but don't worry. We have, during the now impending 3-week FNCS break, we do have like a lot of ideas and segments planned for some longer shows. But thank you guys for joining me very much. It's been a pleasure to have you all here today. Jacob, what are you up to over the next week? Where can the people find you?
You can find me at my Twitter's down there, Jacob_MVPR. You take out the underscore, you put it together. That's where you get my Twitch. I actually got a few things planned with Monster. I don't want to leak it because, you know, it's something that we're going to be doing for the regular people. If you guys want to hop in, play competitive, if you're not the Reach, you're not the Peterbots, we got a lot going down there, which is going to be pretty exciting. Got a lot of streams going on. So if you guys want to kind of put your face out there while FNCS is on break, make sure you guys check that out, because I just want to give back. I mean, just it's same thing I said, without the pros, having the casual players and everybody filling the lobby wouldn't have it. If I didn't have people, you know, watching and supporting what I do and what we do, you know, we wouldn't necessarily be here. So thank you guys for that.
Same question then goes to you, Kinch. Where can the people find you? What are you up to over the next week or so?
Kinch Analytics on Twitter. And yeah, if you want loads of stats, read my Twitter and get your own stats from my Discord server, because we've got a great bot in there.
Check out Kinch
Gives
Premium.
you all your stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kinch Premium. Yeah.
Of course.
There's more stuff there.
I've
one. Wait, sorry.
go on.
Complete circle here. Back to
Okay.
conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I have a very self-centered conspiracy theory here, which I
Okay.
forgot about. Very self-centered.
What is it?
Do you know why Epic removed region lock,
Yeah,
point-based matchmaking from some rounds, and are causing all sorts of queue problems in tournaments?
why is that?
It's to make my life harder to estimate match. I thought it was too easy for this guy.
I was ready.
Yeah, they have kind of screwed you lately, haven't they? Jeez. Oh man.
Full-time job is back.
Jeez. I mean, yeah, they've not made it easy for you, have they? Reese, what are you up to, my friend?
Yeah, you know me. I'm just going to be editing videos and probably playing far too much Fortnite Reload and not playing Battle Royale unless it's a tournament. Oh, if I solo Cash Cup today, that's just ruined my day, actually. No, I just thought about that. So, yeah, just playing too much Fortnite Reload and editing videos. Put one up maybe Wednesday, I think, if I finish it. So, yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably be listening to this on Wednesday. So on the day, as you're listening to this, the video is probably up. Yeah.
They should have watched that before this, of course, because the subscribers are strong on the resub channel.
Sure, yeah. Not here, though, because they still ain't subscribed on here. So, yeah, please get subscribing, guys. Yeah, 112K on all socials. You can check me out. I'm not really going to be around much this week, but yeah, just whatever. Do your thing. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. See you on another episode of FNtasia Podcast later. Bye.
Bye-bye.